Hello, case fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and we're going to take a look at the GPERHUAN TGDGamer TGD-01. Yes, that is a D right there for those of you who are not sure, and that's just the box, of course. This is the case. Now, if you're saying, wow, that doesn't look like much, well, this is a very small case, and it is designed for mini m-ITX and micro ATX only. So it's a micro ATX tower, and it does come in 5 colors. I only saw this. I think I only saw 2 colors, black and white on Newegg, but they also have green, pink, and yellow. Had I seen green or yellow, I would have bought that instead. It has 4 input-output ports, which I guess is referring to. Well, I don't know. That doesn't seem right. No, it's referring to this. And 4 expansion slots. And this is very light. It's only 1.95 kilograms. So it's very, very light. It's lightweight material, but it's sturdy. It is 265 by 160 by 350 millimeters. So that's 350 millimeters tall and 265 meters from the back to the front or front to the back, and then 160 meters for the thickness. And the maximum CPU cooler height is a whopping 135 millimeters. So yeah, you're going to be restricted as to what you can use to cool this computer. But that's normal because it's a micro ATX. And what else can I tell you about it? There's really not a lot, unfortunately. It does have an 80 millimeter fan, which is, I tested it. It's weak, and that is a fan that runs on MolXD, so it runs at full speed all the time. So, but being weak, it's also quiet, so that's not too bad, I guess. This is to attach here, so you have to remove this from the frame, and then the only thing that this comes with that's not already attached are screws and bolts. So there are screws and bolts, so you can install cards here. And obviously before you install the motherboard, you're going to have to remove this and install it here. And I'll show you that in a minute, or 3 or 15, we'll see. On the top, nothing but a couple of holes. Why? Well, I would assume that has to do with the fact that the power supply goes on top. Now, why would they put the power supply on top? Well, my guess would be that they're trying to keep the heat of the power supply, since there's no power supply shroud, at the top, so it isn't heating up everything else, since this is already a very small case. And if you'll notice, there are rivets going all the way along here. So this side can't be opened to aid you in doing your work. And so that means you can't hide cabling in the back without some really fancy work. And we do have 2 thumb screws. Now, I did have to use a screwdriver to loosen them because they had really torqued them on. They must have used a machine because I couldn't do it with my fingers. And we do have some ventilation here, and we have that strip of ventilation there. Now, this is held in place with these 4 tabs against the frame here. You can see the holes there, and it also is held in place with 1, 2, 3, 4 very simple kind of tabs that fit into the 4 holes here. So you just, and it will stay in place. It's not going to fall off. But this, I'm really, I don't build in small cases. I understand why people want to, but I would prefer to have more space so I can do more things. So one of these days, I will force myself to build in a small case. But right now, without enough financial support from all of you, that's not going to happen. Yeah, things are pretty rough with Amazon right now. And I'm going to have my surgery next month on my shoulder, having it replaced. So we can see the ventilation here. There's also ventilation in these two spots here for the two positions where you can mount a drive, or drives, I should say. Or you can look at it this way. Obviously, you are not going to have much ventilation since the depth or the height, or whatever you want to call it, of these formed legs is really, really minimal. I mean, we're talking, what, 2-3 millimeters? So there's not going to be very much ventilation. But then again, there's not going to be a fan here unless you can figure out a way to mount a fan here, which it's possible. It's not going to necessarily be a great thing because, again, there's very little clearance because of these legs being too short. I would suggest, since this case does not come with rubber feet, I would suggest finding rubber feet that will fit that, especially if you can hold them in place with a bolt or a screw, and then just drill a hole in the middle of each of these legs. Add a nice tall rubber foot on each of these, and that would make it much easier for if you need to ventilate through here. So we do have the USB connector. That's USB 3, and then there is USB 2 and communications, and then the things for the power and reset and LEDs. And this one is the one that comes with the handle. So I'm sorry, I forgot about the handle. So this is for the handle, and it's just nothing impressive. It's just a plastic handle that you can use to carry this around. I'm not really sure why they put it on the front, because the weight is going to be toward the back. I would have preferred to have it here, but maybe they have a good reason for it. I don't know. Yeah, so, and these are the accessories. This is a really bare bones case, and I think that if you can get it for $10, I mean, the only thing I really like about this case is that the picture. We've got USB 2.0, which nobody needs anymore, and USB 3.0. I mean, companies building cases should not be using USB 2.0 at all, because USB 3 is compatible with USB 2, so there's really no excuse for it. And then we've got the jack and the speaker, jack for speaker and microphone, although they didn't label which is which, so you'll have to figure that one out on your own when you attach this to the motherboard. You'll be able to, at least in theory, wait a second, reset switch, power LEDs, and hard drive LEDs. Yeah, so you'll have to figure that out on your own. Good luck with that. The power button's very easy to press, and it's a little bit harder to press this one because it's smaller, but they're both flush with the surface of the panel, so that it isn't going to be, in my opinion, reset buttons should be recessed in order to prevent accidental resets, which I've done on my Corsair 5000X. I've learned to be very careful when I'm reaching around that side of the top. So, wow, yeah. Now I understand that with small cases, the way ventilation has to work, because it's a small case, is different from a large case like my cases. And that is why we're seeing something that is so, in my opinion, so restrictive. One thing that I found disappointing about this, if I wanted to mount a fan or fans here, like maybe 290s or something like that, there are no pre-made holes to help me with that, which I assume they didn't want to do because, well, it might make it look less attractive. But I'm always more interested in good performance than good appearance. So I would have also have liked to see more mesh on this side. Now, since I've never built in a small case like this, I mean, I would love to hear your comments on what you think is good and bad about this case. Especially in regards to the positioning of the handle, where there is actually ventilation. I would definitely replace this fan. This is the only mounting point for a fan. So unless you modify this case, the only other fans you're going to have in here are fans for your air cooler. There is no place to mount a water cooler, of course. Yeah. To me, this is a very, very minimal case, and I would not want to have to build in this. I would, and looking here, I see something odd. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, but this has been bent forward. This entire thing has been bent forward, and I'm guessing that there is the rivets are connecting it to another piece, and for some reason they had to bend the whole thing forward to assemble it like this, which to me is, I don't know, it just looks, for somebody who's very attention deficit, or maybe more appropriately OCD, or very strong attention to detail, they're going to see that and they're going to be like, what? That doesn't look right. But honestly, yeah, anybody who wants this on their wants to have this case is not going to notice it once they put the panel on, so it's not really a big deal. But for people with OCD, they're going to potentially struggle with that. We do have these things here, and that is also for mounting hard drives and SSDs. So that's really interesting that, when you have such a small case, you have to get so creative with use of space. And we do have the 6 mounting points here, or 5, and then we have these 2 shorter ones. I'm not aware of what they are for. There is no manual. Let me go ahead and install the handle, which uses these 2 rather hefty bolts, which is a good thing. Hopefully the plastic is strong enough. Okay, so the maximum length of the main board or motherboard can be 9.6 inches, which is about 24 centimeters. The maximum length of a graphics card is 250 millimeters. The feet are indeed 3 millimeters tall. And for the power supply, you can use a regular ATX sized power supply, or you can use an SFX. I don't know why they call it SFX instead of SFF, but SFX, or small form factor. Either one will fit in here, which I guess is a good thing. I would have liked to have seen some kind of, I don't know, it would be nice. I know this is a budget design. That's what they say for the listing. I would have liked to have seen a plate that you could mount on the end of the power supply, and then you can just slide it in there. But I don't think that would make much of a difference one way or the other, honestly. This is, to me, despite the fact that you've got space for 2, 4, 6 drives. To me, this is a little bit creative with that. I mean, I think that's an interesting solution to the lack of space problem. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to use it. I mean, I, I would not. I paid way more for this than I wish I had paid for it, and I don't think that this is with $2 extra for the handle. I don't think it's really a value price. I feel like $10, maybe $15 for this case is reasonable, but the list price for this case is $50, which I think is outrageous. And it's been on sale for the past several weeks for around $30, $25 on Newegg. So yeah, maybe if they had given a quality fan and done a few other things to jazz this up, like if this imaging wrapped around the sides, I think that would have definitely been a plus. If they had used USB 3 here and had a USB 3.2 port, that would be a definite plus for this case. But really, $50 for this? No. And $30 for this? But, you know, I bought it so you can save your money. And this is just, yeah. So again, we do have, there are a couple of brass standoffs there. And then we have the screws and bolts for installing everything. So let me go ahead and take this off. You just have to fatigue the metal so that because it was just held in place with some solder, I think. Now, hopefully this is not easily rusted because that is no longer protected by paint at those 2 points. You go like this. Oh, that's not so easy. Hold on. Let me get that out of the way. Wow. Okay. So this is definitely a bit problematic. You're going to have to really kind of push it in this direction with your thumbs while you're doing that and have a screw at the ready. And unfortunately, these are, you know, yeah. Okay, if you don't push this forward enough, it's going to start pushing these temporary slot covers out of the way. So if you don't want your slot covers off and have to buy more slot covers to cover them in a more permanent way, you know, then yeah, be careful. But yeah, let me just install this. Okay, now this is a problem because there are only 2 kinds of bolts in here that I've been able to see, and they look like this. Now you can see that this one is the taller one, and that is for mounting the motherboard, and it has that kind of a head. And this one has a rounded head. And this is supposed to be, among other places, for this. But if you have, say, the LTT screwdriver, you're screwed. Or if you even have a screwdriver like this that has this collar to hold bits, you're screwed, because I have tried both this kind of screwdriver and this kind of screwdriver. Neither of them can drive the bolt into the hole. There's not enough clearance. Now, just to make sure, I did try the motherboard bolt as well, and because the head is wider than the spaces that's available, that is not even a possibility at all. So I can't actually mount this. That's really irritating. And for anybody who actually wants to install, I don't know, a graphics card or a networking card or something else, you're going to have to buy some kind of a solution for that. Worst case scenario, use a cable tie or a twist tie. Best case scenario, you'll find another screw or bolt that'll hold it in place. But this is just, yeah. I don't know why they did not think more about that and make sure that it was easy to do. Now I'm going to just try one more time with the correct bolt to get that in there, but it's not easy. Yeah, it just keeps on turning away from the hole, turning to the side. It won't go in. So that is a major, for me anyways, and for anybody who wants a graphics card, a major issue. Or any kind of card. Now I guess you can just leave this open and just attach them some other way, because this frame will still be here when you remove the slot covers. But yeah, that's definitely not ideal. So what do you think about this case? Would you buy it? And if you were to buy it, how much would you be willing to pay? Now, I understand that maybe you might be somebody who's got lots and lots of money. And so for you, it doesn't even matter how much you have to pay. If you like it, you buy it. But keeping in mind the very limited functionality of this case and the problems that exist in this case, let's be realistic, and I just ask, if you were going to price this for purchase or sale, how much would you want to pay? See, now this is, yeah, I don't like that the handle is in the front. It feels like it's going to be very awkward to carry. I also do not like the fact that it's made of plastic. I had a hard time threading the screw on this side. I did the bolt on this side partway, and then I tried to do this. This one was a pain in the butt, and it misthreaded initially and finally threaded. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.
I'm sorry to do this, but I need to ask for your help. Because Amazon and Sedgwick won't take responsibility for the injury I sustained at work, that is going to cause me to have my shoulder replaced on November 29th of 2024. I'm going to be off of work for 3 to 4 months, and the pay that I'll be getting from Amazon during that time, because Sedgwick will not pay me anything, will be after taxes and benefits, probably somewhere in the area of $10, maybe $12, something like that, per hour of a 40-hour week. And so that's going to be very financially troublesome for me, to put it mildly. I mean, just my rent alone is like $1,150, and then there are all the other expenses. I do have some help, but I do appreciate it if anybody is willing to help. You can join my channel, Glenn's Fast Reviews, or you can go to patreon.com/Glenn, M-I-I, and become a member there. If you can't safely do that, please don't, though. I don't want anybody financially getting into trouble trying to help me. That would just that would make me feel really, really bad, as if somehow I was responsible for the choice you made, even though it was your choice. So if you can't, that's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.